Morning, folks. 5:08 a.m. 40.4 degrees. Day 119, July 30th. I'm waking up. All right, good morning, folks. 6:33 in the morning. 40.2 degrees. Man, just walking out of the campsite. Oscar Delta 1, known in English words as Fairy Falls. Oscar Delta 1. All night, I kind of had this Lead Belly song in my head, although, if I'm being perfectly honest, I've had the Nirvana version of it in my head. Where did you sleep last night? Just because of where I slept last night. My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? In the pines where the sun don't ever shine. And I shiver the whole night through. Well, when I'm in the pines. Luckily I didn't shiver the whole night through though. It was a pretty restful night. Probably fell asleep around 9, 4:30 alarm, ignored it again. That's why we're leaving at 6:33. Today's going to be as I mentioned yesterday, a somewhat longer day, 30 plus, and road walking. Although, I was looking at the map and it looks like the road actually goes by a few geysers and other sort of thermal features, so it might not be quite as boring a road walk as your typical road walk. So that would be nice if it isn't. It's a little more interesting, that is. Right now I have a 0.7 mile spur to get back to the Fairy Falls Trail, where I will hang a left, bear north. Go figure, walking from Mexico to Canada, I want to go north. And in looking ahead, looks like there's a Norris Ranger Station, Norris, Norris Ranger Station, maybe 22 miles or 3 or 4, something, I don't know. Kind of earmarking that as a potential lunch spot so that I can sit down, plug stuff in for a little while longer, hopefully, and have my lunch, dispose of all my trash there as well, which would be nice. Not that I have a ton since I just dumped it yesterday, but you know. Aside from that, heard something howling this morning. Not sure what. Could have been a dog, could have been a coyote, could have been a wolf. Really don't know. Didn't sound like the coyotes I'd heard before. Which leaves wolf and dog. And as much as I'd love to think wolf, I think dog is probably a little more likely, but I don't really know. I just don't really know how prevalent the wolves are in this section of the park, or any section of the park for that matter. Could have been a wolf though, that'd be cool. And then last night, just as I was getting ready to fall asleep, I heard, I don't know what in the world it was. It was relatively close, for sure. And in my head, the only thing that made sense to make a sound like that was an elk, like an elk bark. But I don't know why that's what I thought. It's just kind of what it felt like. I don't know. Just a weird, really strange sound. I can't even mimic it. Very sort of, well, I don't know. I think it was an elk bark. I have no idea why I think that, but that's what I think it was. So I called out a few times. I only heard it that once and then didn't hear it again. But it was probably, within 100 feet, 100, 150, 200 feet, something like that. I mean, with these pines, sound won't really carry, so probably within 100 feet. Anyways, that's all I got for this morning. Cool noises of the night, cool noises of the morning, cool weather of the morning. Brr. Might should have left my puffy on, I don't know. Anyways, we'll get hiking, and I'll check in with you guys a little later. guys, 75.6 degrees at 10:44 in the morning. I'm just leaving Norris Ranger Station. For those of you who check my Gaia GPS recording, you'll notice the pretty conspicuous presence of a hitch. I did hitch up to Norris. I was hoping I could hitch here, plug in my stuff, and then hitch back down to kind of where my marker is, if you will, to where I was picked up for my hitch north. But Norris Ranger Station is all out of power, so there was a young ranger there who was kind enough to point me in the direction of Norris Geyser, which I think is probably about a mile back down south. So now I'm gonna see if I can't hoof over to Norris Geyser and then talk to someone over there. It just kind of occurred to me, if I'm hiking 15 miles to get back here, I could probably hitch up, plug in my stuff, hitch back down, and then hike in as my stuff is charging. So that's what I'm trying to do. But for now, we'll get over to Norris Geyser and see if I can't find some place to plug stuff in. All right, 11:41, 78.2 degrees. Just made it back to immediately, well, I'd say trail south, but that's not quite right. My trail south of Tuff Cliffs, Tuff. And I was picked up maybe just another 1,000 feet up to go north. Nice fella Bill over at the bookstore for Norris Geyser. Norris Geyser has like a little gift shop bookstore thing there. And it was just the first building I saw that had an employee and electricity over at Norris Geyser. So I popped in, put on my best friendly face, hey! And he's awesome. He's out from California, Bill. Didn't even bat an eyelash. He's like, yeah, man, plug it in, you're good. I also, while I was there, kind of pressed my luck and left my food bag with Bill as well. So that's a lot of weight I just dumped off. I don't know, 10 pounds. Nah, yeah, maybe about 10 pounds. It's about 2.5 days of food. 2.5 pounds per day of food, so probably close to 10 pounds anyways. Filled up my water bottle, slammed a liter of water while I was up there. Got stuff charging, and now I'm gonna keep on hiking. As I said, it's just a little before 12. I kind of got to scoot because I think it's about, I don't know, 13 or 14 miles to get back there, and they close at 5, so should be just fine, especially with a little less weight. But all the same, definitely want to make sure I get my stuff back. So we'll keep moving. Probably going to be a boring hike. It didn't look like I passed a whole ton on this drive, so yeah, I feel like a genius. Let's see if I can get my stuff back. Alright guys, 3:13, 87.8 degrees. Just made it back to Norris Geyser. So an hour and 45 before Bill's gonna head home for the day. Man, it is hot and walking on the road is boring and nerve-wracking for sure. But happy to have made it back. I'm gonna go check in with Bill, let him know that I'm here, and then probably plug in my phone, cook up some ramen, hang tight for an hour, something like that, and then keep moving because I still have plenty more miles left to do today. All right, I'll check in with you guys. All right, 4:31 and 86.4 degrees. Just leaving Norris Geyser after lunch. Man, huge appreciation to Bill. Sorry guys, this is gonna be a lot of blabber video today because I still have my health update coming up. But for now, I have like, I don't know, 6, 8, who knows how many more miles on a road, and then I get to kick off onto trail for just the last few miles, just in time for a big hill. So that should be great. All right, guys, I only just turned off from that check-in. I'm still on my way out from Norris Geyser. It is 4:35 now, and remains 84.6 degrees. Go figure. Usually I try and find like a more scenic place to do these health updates, but usually I don't have 30 miles of road walking in a single day, and I really don't think I'll get I don't think I'll get any pretty opportunity. But Indeed it is day 119, multiple of 7, weekly health update, and I think there's really pretty much only 1 or 2 sort of small health issues that I'll just mention. Both of them have to do with my left foot, surprisingly enough. I mean, that right ankle thing is still happening. I'll mention first about the right ankle. I've been on a pretty solid regimen of ibuprofen this jump so far. I've been taking 2 200 milligram pills every morning, and then 1 kind of with lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it. So a total of 600 milligrams a day, which isn't crazy, but I don't know. It's a long jump, and I just wanted to kind of stay ahead of it, so that's what I've been doing for that. Onto the left foot, however. The left foot, I don't know if it was like, I don't know what, 3 days ago maybe? I don't know if I had like a piece of grit or something, like between sort of like the top front of my ankle and my shoe or something, but like really got rubbed pretty raw. Not completely gnarly, but definitely pretty raw, pretty tender, which isn't great, but it's a really weird spot on my foot. And I mean, I guess a good spot to have something like that, because it's not like it's contacting the ground with every step or whatever, but yeah, so what I wound up doing for that, I mean, again, when your only tool is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, my only tool is Leukotape, so rather than just slap the Leukotape right over top of the really raw part, which I thought would probably almost certainly lead to trouble when I do get to town and take it off, I first slathered on some triple antibiotic ointment, and so hopefully that Leuko, when I do take it off in another 4 days or whatever, hopefully it willn't have stuck onto the wound itself. But it hasn't really bothered me a ton since then, so hopefully it'll be fine. Leuko will help protect it. Hopefully the triple antibiotic will help keep it clean. And that's that. The second issue with the left foot is what I'll call the 4th toe, kind of the toe next to the pinky toe. I've been sensing some suicidal thoughts on that toenail for the past week or so. It doesn't look crazy, it doesn't hurt, but it just kind of feels, I don't know, it has a certain might wind up coming off type vibe about it. So I'll be curious to see whether I finish this hike first, or whether that left foot 4th toenail drops off first. Go ahead and place your bets. Place your bets. Do I finish this hike, or do I lose another toenail, which would be, what, my 5th, I guess. Goodness gracious. Well, as I said when I started losing them, they can all go for all I care. That's fine. Alright, well, that's about it for body stuff, which is great. Really happy there's not a whole ton to report, but I do have a decent amount to report with respect to gear. So first off, I mentioned that I ordered a new pair of trekking poles, which should be waiting for me in Bozeman. Again, that left one especially, the cork is pretty much falling off, and then you can see maybe on the right pole starting to crack. So I don't think that'll be too long for this world. What I plan on doing though, since I just switched out the tips and the straps, I feel like not too terribly long ago, and they're both still in good condition, I'm going to pull off the tips and straps from these poles that I've been using and put them onto my new trekking poles, and then the new tips and straps that come with the new trekking poles, I'm going to mail those along with my old poles back home, and that way I have brand new straps, brand new tips, and a pretty old pair of trekking poles that really, like, the 3 sections though are pretty good, just not the handles. So I'll keep those in case I need to Frankenstein up any solutions in the coming years. Hopefully I don't, but we'll see. So that's it for trekking poles. I wouldn't usually replace trekking poles outright, but I should also mention I emailed Black Diamond to see whether they just sell the handles, because goodness knows I've replaced every other component of these things by now, and I'd rather just replace what's broken rather than the whole thing. But they do not sell the handles, but they threw a 40% discount code to me as well. They were like, oh yeah, we can't help you with that, but here's 40% discount if you want to buy new ones. And I was like, all right. So without the 40% discount, I probably wouldn't be replacing these. I'd just hike them out, but with a 40% discount, tough to find a reason why I shouldn't replace them when I know they're gonna have to be replaced. All right, well, that's it for the poles. My shoes would be the second gear issue I'm gonna discuss briefly. These shoes have failed more thoroughly than any pair of shoes I've had. They are just completely falling apart. When I was in Jackson, I got some shoe goo and glued back on the treads that were flapping and flopping off, and I think that lasted a day or so. I was hoping that shoe goo would last longer than super glue, but super glue only lasts like a day, maybe a day and a half, and that's about as long as the shoe goo lasted. So and they're just torn up. They're tattered. The treads are coming off. The seams are ripping out. I mean, they're totally blowing out. They're just totally blowing out. But again, I should have new shoes waiting for me in Bozeman, courtesy of my sister. And I'll definitely show you these ones before I get rid of them, just because they're pretty impressively dead. But yeah, they're maybe less than 400 miles on them right now. I think they started failing with less than 200, so that's not great. Not great at all. But it is what it is. The third and final piece of gear that I'll mention is my pack, my Z-Pack's Arc Haul 62-liter rip stop or grid stop or whatever it is pack. The horizontal strut, a flat, I don't know if it's fiberglass or carbon or whatever, horizontal strut that rides across the bottom, sort of like by the waistband, that is just popping out like crazy. And then I realized that on the right hand side of the pack, it's kind of ripped through the pack, so even when it's seated properly, it'll just poke right through what's supposed to be its little home or its little housing or nest or something that it sits in, which ain't great. And I don't really have much to do about that. I did fire off an email to Z-Packs when I had service near Old Faithful yesterday, but I don't expect to hear from them until I get to Big Sky or wherever there's service again. Meanwhile, silver lining of this 30 miles of road walking or whatever it'll wind up being is I found a bit of like blown out rubber tire on the road. Just a tiny little patch of it, maybe as big as a playing card, blown out rubber, and I thought, well, let's see if we can't MacGyver a solution, at least short term. So I picked it up, and here at lunch kind of used my little pocket knife, whittled it up, and I don't know, I mean, it seems to be working right now, but I basically covered up the hole through which the little strut is poking through the material which it's ripped, and we'll see how long it lasts. I mean, we'll see. That's all I can do right now, really. So that's that. I mean, that's a mouthful of a health update with very little to do with health, but it is what it is. And yeah, welcome to my life for the rest of the day, man. Road walking, it's a bummer, but I'll check in with you guys at camp. All right, folks, very good evening. 7:32, 70.2 degrees. It's cooled off just a little bit. Oh, still feels warm. Man, so I should be really close now to my campsite, and this is gonna be my evening check-in because, boy, today was just draining, man. Not physically, but like psychologically. It's just kind of generally stressful road walking. I mean, for all the talks of all the things on the CDT that are scary and all this, very rarely do people talk about cars, but it's a concern. So luckily, that was my hugest road walk in Yellowstone. I do think I have a little bit more tomorrow, and then some more the day after tomorrow or something like that. I don't really remember. But yeah, and then aside from that, it was just boring, man. Just boring. But I'll say, even though it was an exceptionally boring day, especially in such an amazing park, I'm incredibly thankful to Bill back at the Geyser bookstore, Norris Geyser bookstore, Norris Geyser Basin bookstore. Man, because that worked out great. I was able to totally top off my 20,000 milliamp battery bank, as well as my phone and 3 GoPro batteries. So if I was in a good spot before that little maneuver, I'm in a great spot now. I feel like I'm probably still not going to process any videos tonight because I am just wiped, and it's getting on late for me, anyways. But yeah, I mean, aside from Bill, something else I'll mention. Right here at the end of the hike on the road walk, probably about a mile or so from my turnoff off of the road and onto the trail, a couple of park rangers, like cop type park rangers, not like, I don't really know how to distinguish. I'm sure they all have the same authority, but these ones like had a cruiser and stuff with lights on it, so they seemed more cop-like than some of the rangers with whom I've interacted up to now. So they were oncoming, and I was trying to walk against oncoming traffic. And I waved to them just like I waved to everyone I passed in 12 hours of road walking today. And then sure enough, they passed me and then turned around and came back and pulled over at the first sort of pull-off spot and kind of waited for me to walk up to them. Well, I was wondering if that might happen because it was like, I mean, again, like 6:30 or whatever. So they pulled out, they jumped out of their, didn't jump out of their cruisers, they stepped out of their cruisers, and I waved as I walked on towards them, and finally had an interaction with them, which was positive, certainly. And they started off by saying like, "Hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And I offered to show them my permit, and they said, "Yeah, if you have it, that'd be great." So I procured that, and they reviewed it, and asked me a little bit, just my name, and I offered ID. They didn't care for my ID. Asked me where I'm from, asked me what I'm hiking, blah 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 blah, just kind of general stuff, and then just kind of left off, offering me water and snacks and stuff like that, asking if there was anything I had to ask them or any questions I had for them or anything they could help with specifically. And I mean, I'm dialed in, dude. I'm like 119 days in. I'm pretty set, but that's incredibly gracious. And I do feel like they weren't trying to give me a hard time. They were, I mean, again, it's 6:30 in a park that, most CDT hikers are not hiking this stretch of trail. So I imagine it's particularly unusual to see someone like me at that time of day in that part of the park. So I do truly appreciate them stopping, and I treated them with respect and smiles and sir and ma'am, and they reciprocated, and it was just a positive interaction. So I'll tell you, man, positive interactions with all these rangers at Yellowstone. 2 thumbs up. Definitely digging Yellowstone so far. But so where I am tonight is campsite 1 Charlie 2, 1C2, also known as Straight Creek North, also known as 1.1 miles or so compass north of Grizzly Lake. So this will be a good primer because up till now I haven't mentioned that tomorrow I'll be hiking through the I think it's Gallatin Grizzly Conservation Area, which in order to come over whatever it is, that pass, it's not hogback, it's something compound word. Anyways, whatever that pass is, I'll have it figured out for tomorrow. But yeah, I'll be hiking through kind of like Grizz Central of Yellowstone tomorrow, and then camping about, I don't know, a few miles just west of it, So my plan for tomorrow, well, scream a lot, clap a lot, yell a lot, toot my whistle a lot. And frankly, when I resupplied over here at Old Faithful yesterday, I deliberately bought one fewer cooked meals than I would have usually, because my plan for food tomorrow, dude, I just don't even want to cook. I mean, I'll have breakfast, I'll have coffee tomorrow. Here we are, 1 Charlie 2, a very clearly delineated path to get in there. I'll have my breakfast coffee tomorrow morning, but I won't have a midday hot meal. I'll just snack. So I bought a big bag of Doritos and some extra protein bars and junk, and I'll just have only cold food, if you will, tomorrow. Just because I mean, I don't know. It just makes me feel better. Look, I know there's grizzlies the whole rest of the trail. That fact is not lost on me, believe me. But I mean, a grizzly conservation area in Yellowstone, dude. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna have cold food tomorrow. Oh my God, these mosquitoes are crazy. Anyways, just got to camp. I need to throw on my windbreaker, set up my tent, and get in there because, oh my goodness. Just because. All right. Well, sorry it was a boring video today. Just a lot of talking. I'll turn off. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.